Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us this Friday. I'm Janelle Slade. Russ is off tonight. The first vaping-related lung disease hits Montana, and it's right here in Yellowstone County. The Department of Public Health and Human Services confirms the local resident is in his or her 30s and has a history of vaping nicotine and THC. Q2's Mitch Laggy spoke with county health officials to see what they know and what questions still remain.
We know that we have one person in the county who was seen by a medical care provider, and in working up the case identified this history of using e-cigarettes, and ultimately was diagnosed with a severe pulmonary disease related to the use of e-cigarettes.
John Felton is the CEO of Riverstone Health and a Yellowstone County health officer. He says the person in their 30s was diagnosed in August and is back at home recovering from the disease. The problem? Officials don't know what products are causing the lung illness.
We don't know all of what goes into patients getting severe pulmonary disease. The link is the use of the e-cigarettes. In a situation like this severe pulmonary disease, that investigation is really critical. What we don't know yet is exactly what that linkage is. Is there a specific causative agent? Is it a constellation of things? So the more information we can get in a case like this and put into a big database, the more we can start to tease out really what are the connections.
Around 530 people have been diagnosed with severe pulmonary disease since September 17th. Many of those diagnosed use a combination of vape products that contain nicotine or THC, the active ingredient found in cannabis. People's use of the two substances makes it difficult to pin down a specific link.
It's a largely unregulated industry. So nobody really knows necessarily what's in each one of those e-fluids. People can put additives into them, so that's what you really try and tease out is what are people being exposed to.
Until more research finds a link, the Montana Department of Public Health is urging people who vape to stop. We reached out to a local vape shop for its take on the Yellowstone County case, but it declined to comment. In Billings, Mitch Laggy, MTN News.
All right, thanks, Mitch. Now here you can see some of the symptoms of severe pulmonary disease. Officials say symptoms can worsen over days or weeks. If you are experiencing these symptoms, please consult your healthcare provider as soon as possible. And the nation's largest retailer, Walmart, says it is not going to sell electronic cigarettes anymore. Walmart made that announcement today as the number of deaths and illnesses related to vaping grows. The company says it decided to act due to uncertainties surrounding how federal, state, and local governments may start to regulate the products. Walmart will continue selling the devices it currently has in inventory. Now, the decision also applies to the company's Sam's Club stores. A Billings School District 2 fifth grade teacher tonight in jail after he allegedly sexually assaulted two of his students. 30-year-old Brent Skelton is accused of grooming, texting, and touching the two young girls. Charging documents state Skelton allegedly exchanged inappropriate text messages with the 11 and 12-year-olds. Further investigation revealed Skelton also allegedly touched both girls under their underwear during class. Now, the district tells Q2 that Skelton resigned from his position before he was arrested last night. Q2's Zoe Zandora met up with Superintendent Greg Upham to find out what the school knew, when they knew it, and how district officials responded.
The Billings Public School District began an internal investigation early this summer after a parent of a female student at Orchard Elementary came forward and shared with the principal concerning text messages between their daughter and 30-year-old Brent David Skelton.
I immediately launched an internal investigation on the issue, placed the teacher on administrative leave at that point in time, and then through our investigation shared information immediately with the Billings Police Department and also Child Protective Services.
Upham says school was out for the year and they learned of this incident in the beginning of summer, adding that it's important to act immediately with appropriate intervention and attention.
In doing so, you want to make sure that the information that you have is correct. Right. We confer with our legal counsel immediately and then go through appropriate protocols and laws moving forward.
Upham says Skelton was put on administrative leave once the investigation began and resigned before his arrest on Thursday evening.
We were at the school this morning. Our executive director, Mr. Cobb, worked with Mr. Gogler, the principal, to alert the staff and then we work with our staff and people moving forward in any support that they would need.
Upham says it's important for students to feel comfortable enough to bring matters like this forward so the district can help.
The term we're using a lot is see something, say something, and that has to do with school violence. It has to do with any issues of safety and concern. Is see something, say something, and we're hypervigilant with safety in all capacities, and so something like this is extremely concerning. And so we'll review and examine our internal protocols and procedures and work to improve everything that we need to improve moving forward.
In Billings, Zoe Zandora, MTN News.
If found guilty, Skelton faces between 4 years to life in prison and $100,000 in fines. On the weather scene tonight, Bob McGuire. Hard to believe we are in the final days of summer, but we have a winter storm warning.
How bizarre is that? Yeah, when we're talking a lot of snow up in the higher elevations, let me show you. Here's what we have going for us tonight. As you can see, we have not only a winter storm warning, but also winter weather advisories around the mountains. You'll see 12 to 18 inches of snow up in the Beartooth until noon Saturday above the 8,000-foot level. Meanwhile, over in the Gallatins, it's more like 3 to 7 inches of snow above the 8,000-foot level. Down by Cody and the Absarokas and Cody foothills, more like 6 to 18 inches of snow there above the 7,500-foot level. So this stuff is coming down all over the place. Let me show it to you on the Doppler radar. You can see this low pressure cell here. It's taking all this moisture, wrapping it around it and pushing snow up in the mountains. Now, as that low moves east, it's going to take all that moisture to the west and pull it back across the Billings area. So we're looking at more scattered rain showers continue to push on through by the time Saturday morning gets here. So we're not through with the rainfall yet. We're getting more later tonight and again in the morning. We'll have more about that in a few more minutes.
All right, thanks so much, Bob. Well, around the globe, from Australia to Montana, hundreds of thousands of people led a global strike today on climate change. MTN's Cody Boyer brings us the story from Bozeman.
Climate change has got to go! Hey, hey, ho, ho!
With rain pouring down gutters and soaking their signs, hundreds of folks from Bozeman and beyond first gathered in Cooper Park.
Walk together! Walk together!
That's where they began, winding through the neighborhood towards Main Street.
People gonna rise like water.
It was cold, and turns out ponchos only work so well. But cheers rose when another group appeared. This one, all Bozeman High School students. It's all a part of adding Bozeman to a list of hundreds of other cities, from Melbourne, Australia, to Ann Arbor, Michigan. The Sunrise Movement and the Montana Sierra Club led the strike, with the United Nations Climate Action Summit on the horizon. But watching is one thing.
So far, we know hundreds of students from the Bozeman High School, as well as Montana State University, are taking part in this too. What do you think? What's it like being part of this?
I think that we have an opportunity to influence what our future looks like on this earth, and if other people aren't going to do it, we need to take it into our own hands.
Students like sophomores Lita Kiefer and Jesse Kalinowski were among the horde.
It's cool to see our peers come together for something that's so important. It's pretty powerful.
I think it's super cool that so many students care about this and like taking time in the rain to come out here. Yeah, super cool.
Global Climate Strike took students, young kids, their parents downtown, block after block. Their destination, Bogart Park, where they were welcomed by music. Organizer and lifetime Gallatin County native Sarah Blessing stood at the helm.
I woke up this morning and I was pretty scared that no one would be here, but so many people turned out and they're sticking through it when they're getting wet, and it's just really incredible.
To Blessing, the crowds are a positive sign.
It means so much to me. As a 22-year-old, I have a lot to lose to the climate crisis, as do we all, and we are all standing up for each other's future. It means a lot to me that they care as much as I do.
Students across the state also took part in the strike, including at the University of Montana. They, including others, plan to strike every month on a Friday until they say they see an impact. In Bozeman, Cody Boyer, MTN News.
Thanks, Cody. Now, a march also took place in Helena. In other news tonight, more U.S. troops could be heading to Saudi Arabia. The Defense Department is expected to give President Trump a military option plan in response to last weekend's oil attacks. One U.S. defense official says plans could include sending more U.S. Patriot missile batteries and troops to operate those systems to Saudi Arabia. The move would help the Saudis have more air defense systems to deal with any additional threats of future attacks. The president should get that plan this week. Still to come on tonight's 10 o'clock news, a national day of recognition for the prisoners of war and those still missing in action. We'll look at ceremonies from across the state. And in sports tonight, it's a soggy football night. Scott shows us if rain washes away any of tonight's unbeatens.
You're watching MTN News with Janelle Slade and Russ Riesinger. Storm Tracker weather with Bob McGuire. And sports with Scott Breen. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.